Well, South Africa is eagerly awaiting for the findings of that probe into the Phala Phala farm scandal to be made public, and we are expecting some movement tonight. The Section 89 panel, headed by the former Chief Justice Sandile Ngcobo, has handed over its report to the Speaker of Parliament, Nosiviwe Mapisa Nqakula. Now, that panel has gone through evidence to decide whether the President may have committed an impeachable offence, whether there's prima facie evidence against him relating to that burglary. If and only if a majority of lawmakers then decide to move forward, then a committee will be appointed to do a broader investigation. Let's now get a view from Advocate Mahlodi Muofhe, who is South Africa's ambassador to South Sudan. He is the former head of the State Security Agency's domestic branch. He was focused on rooting out corruption. He testified before the Zondo Commission as well. Advocate, Ambassador, thank you for being with us. Do you think this has been a useful exercise?
Good evening. Yes, it is a useful exercise insofar as we have to accept that the state comprises of three legs: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. This time around, the legislature decided that it is getting involved, and we must give it that space and time to get involved in whichever way they want to get involved in.
The question that's been raised, though, if the findings are adverse, if they're against the President and suggest that there should be a broader investigation, will the majority of MPs, when the majority of the House is made up by the ANC lawmakers, will the ANC be willing to vote to push this further?
I'm not prepared to preempt what MPs will say because I'm not one. But basically, I am saying that that process must be given time and space. Let's cross the bridge when they get there. Safe to say that the President, on his own accord, when this matter started, upfront, he said that he'll await any due process in terms of the law to take place, and should there be any adverse finding against him, he'll do the honorable thing.
Let me ask one more time, if you don't mind, because this is about perceptions. I'd love to ask you about perceptions that the rest of Africa has about us right now. But the question, and this was even raised by former President Thabo Mbeki, what if the ANC closes ranks to protect President Ramaphosa? Say the findings are adverse and say that Parliament does not move forward. Do you think that would be a problem? We don't know what's going to happen, but if that was the case, do you think that would be a problem?
Well, former President Mbeki is entitled to his own opinion, but the fact of the matter here is that we cannot deal with perceptions in a situation where a criminal case was opened by Arthur Fraser. Once a criminal case is opened by any person, it means the criminal justice system must kick in and do its investigations and pronounce on that. There is no point to be going this way or that way, trying to preempt what the final outcome will be. And what we do know is that the President said, should any outcome be adverse to him, he will do the honorable thing. And I'm not really sure why can't we just leave it at that stage. We are at the stage where he appeared before our public protector. He has appeared before this panel, and this panel has given us a report which will be released. We must give them time and space so that MPs now, it will be their turn to look at it, and then we can, after that, we can then get involved. But as of now, it's honestly premature to say what if the MPs say this or that, or the ANC will close ranks around President Ramaphosa. In fact, I think the Treasurer General of the ANC has just said in this same set that the matter will have to be looked at when the evidence is before it. But at the moment, there isn't anyone, honestly, who can make that pronouncement except the NPA. And I'm not really sure what would be the rush, because the parliamentary process has unfolded, the public protector's process unfolded. We're probably now left with what the NPA process would say to us. Is it a difficult ask to say, let's wait for that to happen? Because we cannot run our democracy based on perceptions. I can take you back to 2007, where Arthur Fraser brought in the spy tapes. And I'm sure if you go back to your archives now and what the NPA has pronounced lately about the same NPA tapes, I'm sure you'll be shocked that something which could have been decided in 2007, public perception got involved in, and instead of dealing with the matter legally at that time, they didn't. Now we're faced with a situation where now we've got to be looking at cases having to be reinstated. And that is justice delayed all the way. So in this instance, the president says, let us allow due process to take its course. And that is the only way in which as South Africans we can do and then get to a conclusion once the NPA is pronounced. Because even if we bring in issues of morality and any other thing, at the end of it all, the judiciary, as the third leg of our constitution, is the final arbitrator of any dispute we may have. And I'll take you back even to Nkandla Gate, that in the end, it was the judiciary which gave us direction. So why can't we just wait for the judiciary, in this case, the NPA pronouncement?
Can there not be reputational damage in the meantime? You said there's perceptions and then there's the law, but aren't the perceptions important? This is undermining the image of the president as a reformer. That's how he came in. And I'd love to ask you, I mean, do you think Phala Phala is not affecting our reputation, our image on this continent?
Well, it depends how you want to look at it. I've just given you a case scenario where in 2007, Arthur came up with the spy tapes. And you now know what is the position now. What is the reputational damage to that effect? There is. So you shouldn't, because we jumped too much to conclusions as South Africans, not even as South Africans. I guess some people would want to drive different narratives for their own purpose. This is a process which must be given time and space, and it is almost at the tail end, because after this would be waiting for what the NPA would say. You know, what if the NPA comes up with a different decision to what perhaps you think could be the decision?
Are you suspicious of the motives of Arthur Fraser this time around, very quickly?
I'm a lawyer, Francis. I'm not suspicious of anything. I am saying let us look at everything objectively, and in terms of our law, we've got three arms which we rely on: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And this matter has gone through all these processes.
Okay.
And once the judiciary, and this time the prosecution has made a decision, that's when we can come to a decision. What if we jump to a conclusion now, and then the prosecution comes to a different conclusion? What will we be saying? That's when we get South Africa beginning to doubt the integrity of our judiciary, because we want to be judges, we want to be prosecutors, we want to be lawyers on matters which require legal minds to adjudicate upon.
All right, we appreciate your time tonight. Advocate Mahlodi Muofhe, former State Security Agency head of the domestic branch and current ambassador to South Sudan.